Our next inductee that's scheduled is a guy that I've got to know pretty well, Bob McCullough. And Bob is from Helena, and so am I. And so he was inducted into our inaugural Helena Sports Hall of Fame back in 2003. And I was just amazed. It's been 16 years since we did that. But next inductee into the Montana Football Hall of Fame, Bob Spud McCullough.
Thank you very much.
That's okay.
I thought we only had 3 to 5 minutes for this thing. So everybody else has already used up my time. But mine will be kind of short and sweet. I want to thank Rick Helms, Bill and Nikki Dolan, who's part of the group, all the people, the selection committee, Universal Athletic Stores, and all the other sponsors of these events, because it's been a terrific last 2 days. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the gentleman that actually nominated me for this award. I was kind of remiss, and this gentleman kept saying to me, well, how come you've never been nominated for that Hall of Fame thing? And I said, well, it had a lot to do with the fact that all the other players that have been nominated are a hell of a lot better than I am. But secondly, I found out later you had to nominate. Somebody had to nominate you. So at my table over here, I'd like to thank retired Major General Gene Prendergast. He was a high school mate of mine in 1958 when we graduated from Helena High School. He retired in 2004. He was head of the Montana National Guard. And Gene is a hell of a guy, and he was kind enough to nominate me for this award. And the selection committee was kind enough to select me as one of the people. You know, there are a couple of things I want to share. I want to thank all the other people that will be standing up at this mic and the people that preceded me about how terribly difficult it actually is to play in the professional ranks in this country. These are statistics. I also belong to a group called the National Football Foundation, which is a collegiate situation, and they send statistics and stuff all the time. And one time they sent these statistics out that I just want to share with all of you. In a given year, 1,023,712 will be playing high school football game in any given year in the United States of America. Of that number of people, 6% of them, or 61,000, will actually go on and play at a college. Of that amount, 0.08, meaning 0.8%, will actually sign an NFL contract, and 0.03, or 0.3%, will actually make an NFL roster. So from 1,023,712, approximately 300 people will go into the NFL. So it is a very difficult task. I really congratulate all the people that have done it before and the people that will do it in the future. I would also like to say that when I played back in the 60s, you had to have 5 seasons. to be eligible for the retirement plan. And every year it gets more difficult. People get hurt. Today, it's a little over 3 years to actually qualify for the NFL pension plan, because you know what? Most players will not make it that 3 years. So I wouldn't plan on thinking you're going to make enough money in those 3 years to carry you for the rest of your life. You know, Sonny Lubick was talking about every single person that stands up at this dais knows that there were a heck of a lot of people, both in your families, in the coaching staffs, your teammates. No one that will accept this award up here did it by themselves, I assure you. And I want to thank my mom and dad, both of which are not alive today. As a matter of fact, my mother died about a month ago, but she was 98 years old. I'd like to thank my high school coaches, the fellow players that I played with. Many of them are still my personal friends that I went to Helena High School with. My college coaches. I went to the University of Colorado to college. We won the Big Eight undefeated, and we played in the Orange Bowl against LSU. And then I want to thank the Denver Broncos. The gentleman that was my offensive line coach for 3 years with Denver was a gentleman by the name of Red Miller. Red left and came back in 1971 as the head football coach of the Denver Broncos, and actually took the Broncos, for the first time to the Super Bowl against the Dallas Cowboys. Pat Donovan, a gentleman from Helena, Montana, that's already been inducted into this great group, was with the Dallas Cowboys at that time, and Dallas beat Denver. But Red Miller just died here, and I hate to keep bringing that up, but I guess I'm old enough where that happens more often than you'd like. And Red died here and was just inducted into the Circle of Fame for the Denver Broncos. His wife accepted. But Red was 90 years old and lived a full and wonderful life, and he was one of the great mentors in my lifetime, and I wanted to bring his name up. Again, I want to thank the Montana's Hall of Fame, Football Hall of Fame, and the people, everybody, teammates, parents. We had a cocktail party last night that was sponsored by what's called the Yellowstone Group. They're stockbrokers. That have formed a partnership under the auspices of Morgan Stanley. That's one of the largest brokerage firms in the United States. I find it very interesting, as I told the gentleman from Morgan Stanley here, in 1978, I was a stockbroker for Morgan Stanley, Dean Witter. I became a branch manager in Spokane, Washington. And when I was in Spokane, I had a satellite office in Missoula, Montana. I had 2 guys there. But shortly after I took over in Spokane, I got a phone call from a couple of guys in Billings. They were unhappy with the firm they were presently with. It was 1978. So I flew out here, and I actually opened this office that paid for the cocktail party last night. So it's just the gift that keeps on giving. What were the chances, in 1978 when we opened this office, that I'd get them to pay for even more? I'd like to just say something, because it is so true that we think of the collisions and how difficult, and people getting hurt, and how tough people are in the football. But really, the things that all of us that ever played the game take away from the game is the camaraderie, the partnerships, the friendships for a lifetime. My career ended when I was 26 years of age. I played 5 years with the Denver Broncos. So that was not unusual. I qualified for the pension. So at 26, you better prepared yourself for the rest of your life, because the rest of your life's a hell of a lot longer than the amount of time you played football. Just the other day on television, there was a movie which I had seen previously that was extremely instrumental, or inspirational. And the name of the movie is called When the Game Stands Tall. And it's about a Catholic high school in Concord, California called De La Salle. And De La Salle had a winning streak of 151 straight wins in football. They came up, and I was living in Seattle at this time. I also went on to become the branch manager in Seattle for the next 18 years. But De La Salle came up with this winning streak, longest in the nation, 151 games, and they played Bellevue, Washington. Now, I live right next to Bellevue. Bellevue had won the last two state championships at that time. This is 2003, 2004. And Bellevue beat them. They broke the streak. And really the movie's about the coach and his philosophy, and he was trying to teach these kids to be good citizens, to go out into the world and give to their communities. It wasn't necessarily about the win streak. He really had a difficult time because he was teaching all these values. But as kids and stuff like that, they tended to think of the win streak, and they hoped to start a new one. Well, they did start a new one. The guy's name, the movie, by the way, the coach, or the gentleman that played the coach is Jim Caviezel. Laura Dern, who I'm sure you know, Michael Chiklis, people that we know. But it's extremely inspirational whether you ever were a football fan or not. If you ever get a chance to watch it, watch this movie. I promise you, you will be crying at the end. I knew it was a good movie because it was heavily criticized by critics. But it was absolutely wonderfully, by the people that actually went and saw it, they loved the heck out of it. The coach's name, not that it's important, but his name is Bob Ledesir. And in his tenure at De La Salle, he won 399 games, lost 25, and tied 3. De La Salle won 8 national high school mythical championships. That means 8 years they were the best high school team in the United States of America. But when you see the values that he was teaching and stuff, I think it shows you truly what many coaches would like to see their young men go on to become after their playing days. And the playing days part of it is relatively short for most people. So be prepared when you get through playing and take advantage of your opportunities when you get them. Again, I want to thank everybody. I promise you, I see the people that have been inducted before me, the people that are in this induction class. I'm not really sure that I'm of the quality that they are, but I fooled somebody, and I'm old enough that the people that know the real truth have all died by now. So the rumor has now become reality. Thank you very much.